Caritas. Behold, I tell you a mystery. St. Paul. At last, some time alone. It had been a long day. Unproductive meetings at work, computer problems all day long, and disagreements with my coworkers. That wouldn't have been so bad, except that I was also at a crossroads in life. I was restless in my career, was struggling in many of my relationships, and dealing with some health issues. And as I was melancholy by nature, it was hard to stay positive. Part of me wanted to just run away and give up. I left work that afternoon and got into my car, discouraged. I'd been awake long before the sun, and now it was low on the horizon. Yet, despite my fatigue, I had no desire to go home. Nobody waited for me there. No family, no roommate, not even a dog or cat. I would be completely alone. Usually solitude was like medicine to my tired body and spirit, but not today. Moved by desire and a love of nature, I decided to head for a park nearby, one big enough that I could lose myself in the trees. I knew this park well. I came there often to be alone and think. And though it was close to town, for some reason it was almost always quiet, as if nobody knew it was there. But that was good. I enjoyed the solitude. Sometimes I just walked around. Other times I wrote in my journal. Other times I prayed aloud, often in frustration. I came back to the present as I pulled into the parking lot. The sun had set, but the western horizon still glowed pink and orange, and the dusk brought a calm to nature. It would soon be dark, but darkness didn't bother me, as the paths at the park were very familiar. As I got out and began to walk, I remembered that there was a new moon tonight. It would be extra dark. Also, tall, dark clouds were slowly moving in from the southwest, darkening the waning sunset. It was late in the year for a thunderstorm, but in my current mood I would welcome it. Storms always brought me peace. No, I would walk, no matter what nature's mood. The trail was dark but peaceful. The bird song finally faded away. The bats came out hunting, and an owl stood watch in a tall branch overhead. Tall oaks, maples, and pines towered around me, almost seeming to come alive and whisper in the last of the daylight. And then it was completely dark. As I came around a turn, I looked towards where the small church should be across the street. And just at that moment, the first flash of lightning lit up the sky. In that moment, I saw the church and its small cemetery. I don't know why, but it sent a chill down my spine, just as the resulting thunder rolled through and past me. I walked a few minutes more, and came to a small clearing with a massive tree that had a hollow at the bottom large enough for me to settle into. I scooted in just as the rain exploded around me, and the jagged lightning flashed faster and faster. The thunder became louder every minute, but each shock of thunder was like beautiful music to me, as if nature understood my anger. It was venting its emotions to the world in a way that I didn't know how to do. But thunderstorms don't hurt people's feelings. Only sad, angry people do. This storm was very strong. Wind and rain, thunder and lightning danced and roared, ebbing and flowing like a well-rehearsed drama. But soon enough it passed, leaving a new stillness within me as well. How long I sat there I don't remember. In the darkness, I had no sense of time. But then something happened. It's hard to explain with words, but there was a sudden thrill within me, a blossoming of joy, a hope that was infinitely more powerful than any I had felt before. There was no light to see by, and the only sounds were the subdued sounds of nature at night after a storm. But despite that, I had the strange feeling that there was music. I strained with my ears to hear, and heard nothing. Yet there was music. A sudden sharp creak made me jump. It sounded like wind blowing through tall trees, except that there was no wind. Then suddenly there was an undeniable tremor in the trees, the one over me and all of those nearby. It was as if a sudden power, a deep living, then came into them. It seems that they were waiting for something that they had long anticipated. Then rumbling ran through the ground, which I could feel with my body. It grew and grew until I thought it was an earthquake. Then, light! It was a pure white light, different from that of the sun, or anything man-made that I knew of. The light diffused itself as far as I could see, but it was spread evenly, and I could not find its source. It was very pure, as if it were light itself, the model or pattern for all other light, even that of the brightest sun. Yet it did not hurt my eyes, and I felt a warmth begin to burn inside me. The light grew, and as it grew, so did the joy and tranquillity within me, until they became greater than I had ever remembered. Then I saw her. A young girl, perhaps 5 years old, was standing about 10 feet away. It was clear that she was the source of the light, and of my joy. She was dressed in a simple white dress reaching down to her ankles. Her long golden hair stretched down her back. Her eyes were gray and contained great wisdom, and she was looking right at me. At that very moment, the trees that had been dropping their autumn leaves suddenly became fully green again, as in summer. The forest floor was swept clean of fallen leaves, and there was a rustling as countless creatures began to move toward her. Insects, bats, snakes, deer, squirrels, and many others came to her and circled around her, as if they were bowing before her, as if she were their queen. Yet she kept her gaze on mine, and I could not look away. Then she began to speak to me, but not with words. She spoke directly into the deepest part of me, telling me things of great beauty and wisdom, but things which words cannot tell, and which few people would believe if they could. Her expression was gentle, and her eyes sparkled with pure love. But even more than this, my heart overflowed with pure life. At that moment, to worry or fear, to hold anger or hatred, to feel lonely or unloved, was impossible. I don't know how long we stayed there, but until then she had not moved, nor had her expression changed. Finally, I understood that our time was over. As she turned to go, she looked back, and she smiled. I awoke suddenly as the morning sun filtered through the trees. My heart still burned with love. To this day I cannot tell you whether my encounter with the girl had been real or a dream, a journey of the body or of the spirit. But I do know this: the fire of love and joy that was lit that night has never gone out. But either way, I hope that you also, dear reader, may meet her some day. And if you do, come tell me, so that we together may move others as she has moved us.